house was quiet, too quiet for a home where a teenage girl lived. It was just past 6 a.m. on a Monday morning in November, and Jill Walker stood at the edge of her daughter's bedroom, calling her name. Again. Emma? She didn't answer. It wasn't like her not to wake up to her alarm. It wasn't like her to ignore her mother's voice. Jill pushed the door open and stepped inside. Emma was in bed, lying still. Too still. Her blonde hair was spread across the pillow. The covers hadn't moved. Something felt wrong. Off. Unnatural. Jill moved closer. That's when she saw it. A small, dark hole in the wall above Emma's bed. And another one, lower, near her pillow. Then she looked at her daughter again. Emma wasn't sleeping. She wasn't breathing. She wasn't alive. There had been no struggle. No sound. No sign of forced entry. Just 2 bullets, fired in the night. From outside the walls of her home. One of them had entered behind her left ear. The other into her upper back. She never woke up. The horror didn't announce itself. It came quietly. And when the police arrived, they found something else. The shell casings had been collected. Nothing left behind. Just the shattered silence of a home that would never feel safe again. Emma Walker was 16 years old. A cheerleader. An honor student. A daughter. A friend. And someone had murdered her while she slept. There's a particular kind of horror that follows when a child is taken from their bed. It claws into a community in a way few things can. And in Knoxville, Tennessee, in late 2016, that kind of horror settled over the city like a sickness. But to understand how something like this could happen to someone like Emma, you have to go back. Back to when she was still smiling. Still laughing. Still alive. Emma Walker had always been the light in the room. She was the kind of teenager who left inspirational notes in the lockers of girls she barely knew. The kind of friend who made you feel better just by being there. She loved animals. Volunteered at a local shelter. Wore sparkly eyeliner on game days. At Central High School, she was a fixture. A flyer on the cheer squad, the one lifted into the air, all eyes on her as she soared. Emma loved the spotlight, but not in the way you might think. She wasn't loud. She wasn't arrogant. She was just visible. Bright. She wanted to become a neonatal nurse one day. The future seemed wide open. But then came him. William Riley Gaul. He was 2 years older. A college freshman when they met. Emma was still just 14. Riley had been a wide receiver for the Central High football team. Quiet. Reserved. The kind of boy adults said was polite, even if something about him felt harder to reach. When they first got together, he seemed like the protective type. Always asking who she was with. Always texting. Always watching. At first, it felt like love. But slowly, things changed. Riley became possessive. Controlling. Obsessively jealous. Emma's friends noticed she started to withdraw. Her phone buzzed constantly. If she didn't reply to his messages fast enough, he'd get angry. If she wanted space, he'd show up anyway. At one football game, Riley reportedly stood behind the bleachers and stared at her the entire time. Didn't cheer. Didn't move. Just watched. The breakup rumors came and went like storm warnings. On again, off again. Emma confided in friends that she wanted out, but something kept pulling her back in. Sometimes it was love. Sometimes it was fear. Her parents didn't like him. They told her as much. But when you're 16, love can feel louder than fear. By the fall of 2016, Emma was trying to break free. She'd finally told Riley it was over. For good this time. He didn't take it well. The texts became erratic. Manipulative. Then threatening. At one point, he told her, "You'll regret this." Another time, He texted, "If I can't have you, no one can." Emma's friends were worried. Her parents were terrified. And then came the night someone in a hoodie showed up outside her house. Emma told her friends she saw a shadowy figure walking near her bedroom window. That he rang the doorbell but didn't speak. She was shaken. Said she thought someone was stalking her. Just days later, her car key was taken, then mysteriously returned. Emma believed someone was watching her. She was right. On the morning of November 21st, 2016, everything changed. Emma didn't show up for school. Her classmates noticed her absence. Teachers called home. By mid-morning, the news had spread. Emma Walker was dead. Murdered in her own bed. There were no signs of forced entry. No witnesses. No sounds of screaming. Just 2 bullets, fired through her bedroom wall in the dead of night. The killer hadn't stepped inside the home. They hadn't needed to. They knew exactly where her bed was, where she slept, and where to aim. Detectives began piecing it together. It wasn't random. This was personal. In the hours that followed, suspicion turned quickly to Riley. Friends told police about the recent breakup, the strange behavior, the text messages, the hooded figure outside her house. Investigators looked closer. Riley had posted cryptic tweets the morning after Emma's murder. One read, "You'll have my heart forever." Another, "Rest easy now, sweetheart." He seemed devastated. But something didn't sit right. When asked where he was that night, Riley claimed he'd been at his friend Noah's house, playing video games, sleeping on the couch. Detectives weren't convinced. They brought in the friend. Noah told them something else, something Riley had asked him to do, to help him get a gun back from someone who was trying to blackmail him. And the gun? It belonged to Riley's grandfather. A 9mm. Just like the one used to kill Emma. It didn't take long for the cracks to show. Riley Gaul's story was unraveling, but he didn't know it yet. As detectives quietly circled him, they focused on one chilling detail: the weapon used to kill Emma, 2 9mm bullets, fired from outside her bedroom wall, matched the exact caliber of a pistol owned by Riley's grandfather. And Riley, investigators believed, had recently gained access to it. But the murder weapon wasn't found. Not yet. And Riley still insisted he had nothing to do with Emma's death. So the police did something bold. They didn't confront him outright. Instead, they turned to the friend, Noah, and another boy, Alex. They asked them to wear wires, to get close, to play along. Because Riley had begun talking. And when someone talks long enough, they start to confess without realizing it. The wire recordings captured a different Riley. Not the grief-stricken ex-boyfriend the public saw online. Not the quiet college student who claimed he was shocked and heartbroken. This Riley was jittery, paranoid, desperate. He kept bringing up the gun. Kept asking if it could be traced. If it had been found. If they thought he might get blamed. And then, he said something else. He needed to get rid of it. He wanted to throw it in the river. He didn't say why. He didn't need to. The detectives had enough. But they wanted more. They wanted the weapon. They told Noah and Alex to keep him talking. To act loyal. To play the part. So they did. Over the next 48 hours, they fed Riley the lie he needed to believe, that someone was going to find the gun and turn him in. That time was running out. And it worked. On the night of November 22nd, just one day after Emma's body was found, Riley led them to the exact place he'd hidden it, a black drawstring bag tucked under a bush near the Tennessee River. Inside it, his grandfather's 9mm pistol. The same caliber used in Emma's murder. It was enough. Enough to arrest him. Enough to charge him. Enough to take the mask off. Riley Gaul was taken into custody, charged with first-degree murder. When the news broke, the reaction was instant and guttural. Emma's friends cried in the hallways of Central High. Teachers sat in stunned silence. Her parents? They could barely speak. They had always feared he might hurt her. But no one imagined he would kill her. He was the boyfriend who came to family dinners. The one who said yes ma'am and no sir. The one who'd cried in their kitchen when Emma tried to end things. Now, he was the prime suspect in her execution. The trial began nearly 2 years later, in 2018. Riley, now 20 years old, sat emotionless in the courtroom as prosecutors laid out their case. The evidence was clinical, but devastating. They showed how Riley had stalked Emma. How he'd manipulated her with messages, played on her fears. How he had faked being kidnapped to win her back. Faked being attacked. Even impersonated a stranger to make her afraid, and draw her close. It didn't work. She wanted him gone. And so, prosecutors said, he made sure she never woke up. The state painted the picture slowly. Methodically. Each thread weaving a story of escalating control. Of obsession turned rage. The final act? A cold, calculated decision to end Emma's life. 2 shots. One through the back of the head. One through the base of her skull. While she slept in her childhood bed. The defense had a different story. They claimed it was an accident. That Riley had only meant to scare her. That he didn't know the bullets would hit her. That he never meant to kill Emma. But the jury didn't buy it. Not with the texts. Not with the planning. Not with the gun, hidden like a guilty secret beneath the leaves. And certainly not with the utter silence that followed the crime, the silence of a man who knew exactly what he'd done, and tried to bury it. On May 8, 2018, after deliberating for just over 4 hours, the jury returned their verdict. Guilty. Of first-degree murder. Of stalking. Of reckless endangerment. Of theft. Of tampering with evidence. Riley Gaul was sentenced to life in prison, with the possibility of parole after 51 years. He'll be 71 before he can even ask for freedom. Emma never got 18. What happened to Emma Walker wasn't a random tragedy. It wasn't senseless. It was preventable. And that's what makes the pain linger. She was just starting to become who she was meant to be, breaking away from someone toxic, choosing herself, finding her strength. And he took that from her. In the most cowardly way imaginable. From outside her window. In the dark. With no warning. No chance. No goodbye. Today, her bedroom remains untouched. Posters still hang on the walls. Her cheer trophies still glint in the light. Her bed is still made. But Emma's mother doesn't go in there much anymore. Some nights, she said, she still wakes up thinking she heard something. A door creak. A whisper. A footstep. But it's only the memory. The memory of the morning everything went silent. The morning she opened her daughter's door and saw the world had changed. Forever.